What's good, guys? Um, this message here, I had to bring the glasses out. You know what I'm saying? I ain't brought the glasses out in a while because I really want to break down, the church. And I really want to basically just, I love a church service, and this church service was very typical. This is not nothing that they did. This is not nothing that I could just single out. This is something that is a common theme within the church. Um, so I'm not picking. I'm not picking. I'm just simply observing and then relaying the message via YouTube because there's no room for Christ at all in church. I'm gonna tell you that right now. There is no room for Christ. I'm gonna repeat that. There is no room for Christ. Christ is only a figment of one's imagination. As sad as that sounds, Christ is only a figment of the church folks' imagination. Meaning that even though they love God, even though they love Jesus, they do not believe in Christ as an actual person. I can tell you now, they do not believe this because of the intimacy and the psychology that people have been basically groomed to follow. So when they say things like, I love you, Jesus, it's almost to a intimate level. It's so intimate that it's like when you actually see a real person, your chemical imbalance in your mind is going to think, how can I love this person when I don't know him? But the same type of love that you express in your music and in your shouts and praises, they wouldn't equal up to the real thing. If you was to see the real thing, you would doubt giving and showing this same type of love that you're really expressing, because when he's not there in the physical, yeah, you can run down the aisle. Yeah, you can do all of this stuff. But when he's in your presence, you're going to be reluctant to doing those same things. So it's like when the rubber meets the road, I really don't believe that you would actually take off and run off and shout right in front of Christ. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. So that's the thing about the psychology. And then and the whole time I'm in church thinking about the energy, because we are big on energy, especially the conscious community. You see, we can't shut the conscious community out when it comes to Christianity, because Romans 8:28 says all things work together for the good of those who love God. So when we talk about energy, this same energy that is used to shout and used to do all of these things is the same energy we need for our liberation. But we give this energy to the church. We give it to this service, and it's very unorganized because we don't organize our energy, so we run rampant and free in church. And church is a place where you should release your freedoms and your frustrations. But what I'm saying is, the same energy that the people have in the black community when it comes to the church is the same energy we could use to liberate ourselves from the system. You see, the church literally keeps people in a box and really doesn't expand that level of energy. If we literally could use this same level of energy against our oppressor, we would be free from this system. I kid you not. But what happens is we get in this feel-good moment. We love these feel-good preachers. They preach these feel-good messages, and we don't really do anything with it. That's why we leave church the same way we came. It's not no real change because we're not providing any tangibles for the people to grasp upon. And you see how much energy I have right now. I have so much energy. and I wasn't on command. They asked people to stand up and do this and stand up and do that and this do this and this and do that. People have high emotions. They run off of these emotions, and then based off of emotions, I can get you to do as I say because I have a mic and I'm in front of you. And that is a scary thing, because if you're spinning wheels, it's like spinning wheels in the mud. Like a car that's spinning wheels in the mud, you're gonna hear the engine roaring, sounding good and crazy, but it ain't going nowhere. It's going nowhere. That's the same concept. So I just need folks to understand that there has to be a radical change within the church. Because honestly, I don't know how to penetrate the church. I can't. When there's years and years and years of psychological brainwashing when it comes to Jesus, it's so hard to penetrate. And then people are going to be like, well, you're supposed to be Christ, so you should be able to. But no, because there's going to be people in the pulpit that are going to be hit. They're going to be exposed. They're not going to want to be exposed. So what are they going to do? They'll rather shut you out, make you look like you don't know what you're talking about. And I already know the mindset and the mind frame of people. You know what I'm saying? And they treat this shit like anything else. And I'm more so just, and when I say that, it's tradition. It's the tradition to do these things. You know what I'm saying? And to act this way and to preach this way. But if I get the mic, I'm going to talk about revolution. I'm going to talk about the same amount of energy, because I'm going to look like the bad guy. And that's how it always is. I'm going to look like the bad guy because the same energy, it's almost like I'm going to be condemning people. But I'm not. The same energy we use for this could be used for our liberation. People have been going through some shit. It's some real shit going on out here, and people are using this church as an outlet versus using their minds to liberate themselves with using this energy to physically make it happen. And it's so much that I could just go on and say, y'all, but this is something that's a common theme, and Christ says he's going to come back looking for a church without spot or wrinkle. And this bitch is spotty and wrinkly. Spotty and wrinkly. So, at the end of the day, you know, and I'm going to say this, because I was going to wrap my video up, but I'm going to say this. There is a unrational ratio of women in the church. That is something that needs to be notated. How there are so many women in church and like a small amount of males, and then those males look like they wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, and they look homosexual. That's just what I see. And that's a common thing. I see males that look like they wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, and some of them also look homosexual. And then the rest are just straight women and children. And the shouting most likely comes from the women. The women control the emotion, and from the emotion changes the atmosphere. And from the atmosphere, you have a male directing the church because he knows the power of emotions. This shit is so fucking mind-boggling. It's so crazy. And I love it and I hate it all at the same time, because I'm here to expose, and I just want to open your eyes because I love you. I really want y'all to do great. I want y'all to be great. I want y'all to be empowered. I want you to take power, but we can't do that if we're being pacified in a box.